No, nobody watching yet though.
Is Justin on yet?
No.
Uh-oh. Did someone text him?
Yeah. I'll go and I'll copy it real quick.
Sydney, do you have your coffee yet today? There he is.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Mike went and got it for me today, which was really nice because it's President's Day, so he was home. So I got to sleep in a tiny bit, like 5 minutes.
I hear someone talking.
Hey, Justin.
Good morning.
Morning.
What are
Yeah,
you
so I
guys up
have my
to?
coffee. The only thing different is I didn't get to drink it on my ride home, so I hope it kicks in here pretty fast.
Maybe on mornings like today, you need an espresso shot first.
I know. That would be good, actually. I need to just figure out how to do that. Just down it.
Just eat the beans.
Yeah, there you go.
Just chew on them and spit them out.
Yeah.
Yuck.
Yeah, I know. You got to be real hardcore for that. You want some coffee? No, I got my own beans.
Yeah.
Eating them like popcorn, spitting out the little, like sunflower seeds, spitting out the little kernels like Ace Ventura.
Yeah. That would be so funny.
Oh, that's going to have to be Sydney's new thing now. We're going to have her chewing on beans.
Squirrel killer beans.
The only ones I like is I don't like the chocolate covered beans that have the full bean inside. I like it where they mash it up in the chocolate and then make a ball. I can eat those.
How come I can't see you guys?
You will as soon as the time goes away.
Yep.
William
Chris-
Morrow says he can only hear Chris's voice. Oh, he only listens to hear Chris's voice. Never mind.
Oh, well, Williams is weird.
I thought he listened to me.
No, that's the other guys.
No.
What up, Kyle?
What's up, dude?
Just recovering from a great weekend.
Yeah, you and Chris both had crazy. Well, Kyle too. You guys had a crazy weekend. I just sat in the gym and watched sports games all weekend.
Yeah.
That's probably also tiring as well.
Is there any specific topics that we're going to be covering on here?
Yeah, we'll walk you through it. We'll kind of introduce what we do.
Okay.
Kind of talk about our favorite products that we've used recently from PNS. You'll get the hang of it real quick. You kind of explain it as we go.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. I just figured I'd ask ahead of time. You know me, I do it on the fly, so I'll go with the flow.
Yeah, we kind of go on the fly too.
It's we have a term for it, but I won't mention because this is already recording. So
Off the cuff, on the fly, ad lib, you name it.
free something.
Freestyling,
Yeah.
minus the beat. Because they're balling.
All
Oh, man,
right.
look at
Good
that.
morning, everyone. We already have a lot of people on. Thanks for joining us on this President's Day. We know that for some it's a day off, so this is awesome. I'm super excited. All right, Kyle, you wanna let everybody know who we have here with us this morning?
So this morning we have the one and only Justin Labato, and Justin is known for his tattoos and good looks and his business skills. Justin also is a brand lead for Buff and Shine Manufacturing and also represents Auto Geek recently. And we're excited to have him on. The reason we asked Justin to have him on is we want to invite a few of our fans and friends on to answer questions. But those people that have the skill set and the time with the PNS product line to be able to properly answer questions. And so we thought it'd be fun to bring them on.
Yeah, and Justin's been using PNS products for a long time. So Justin, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of your, when you started using PNS?
Yeah, so for those who don't know me, I've been in detailing since 2008. Got into it with no direction, to be honest, just unemployed and just a wild hair to try it, and then boom, I didn't look back. But from there, growth and just having good mentors. However, being involved with Rennie in the group for many years, and then meeting Bob and Dave Phillips, owners of PNS. That was a great opportunity. I met them doing Air Force One back in 2014. Didn't know anything about PNS because the brand, there wasn't much brand awareness on the East Coast as much as it was on the West Coast, being so dominant and having the 60-year legacy trend that it's had. Obviously, it making its way over to the East Coast and now I would say worldwide. But the first time I had the opportunity to play with the double black line was when it was softly introduced in 2016 at Mobile Tech Expo, before it was, I would say, a great combination of both Rennie and Bob. It was like on the first time they collaborated, got the brand out there and really started the motion of the double black line. I was able to take those products back from Mobile Tech in Orlando, being my shop an hour away, and start playing with them and really pushing the envelope. And, being part of the small demo team that was put together with myself, Kyle, and a few others. And in that time, it was amazing to be able to work with things such as Bead Maker for one of them. My wife had ended up getting a new Sorrento at the time that we got for a lease. And I was like, well, I haven't put anything on it, so why don't we go ahead and put this Bead Maker on? And it shocked me. I ended up doing a video about it because it was almost 3 months that Bead Maker application lasted in the Florida elements. And I didn't have the opportunity to wash a vehicle that often. So it was tried, tested, and proven. And I was shocked. And of course, the other products that fell behind it. And then as they got into coatings, and then of course being a trainer for not only just Rennie, but for the Double Black brand and promoting it and utilizing it in the shop, it's evolved into something that's a huge player, I feel, in the category of professional products, prosumers, consumers, and just being able to have those products to be able to get their hands on that actually work and do what they say they're going to do. That's kind of been my experience. And I've been, enjoying the products and being a PNS flagship storefront as well, just getting into that a couple of years back, just want to get into the retail game. And I felt that PNS line, being so familiar with it, it was a perfect fit for what I was trying to achieve for all aspects.
That's awesome. So cool. That's great. I love that. So, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. I know you got to sleep in a little bit later than we did over here on the West Coast, but so we will get into questions in just a minute. We like to take a second just to kind of talk about some details that we did the last couple of weeks, what we've been up to, and then kind of what PNS has been up to. So Kyle, you want to start?
Yeah. So Justin, this part, what we usually do is we actually talk about, like Sydney said, our recent details or something that stood out to us while using our products. And I literally got back last night at like 10:30 from Sand Dunes. We were going to stay and I was going to do this live from the dunes, but the wind was starting to pick up and we decided, okay, we're out of here. We had enough fun for this weekend. But while I was there, I gave my mom and my 6-year-old some Express Interior cleaner to clean the seat on the quad. She just got it from her older sister. Her older sister got a newer quad. And we cleaned the vinyl seats, and it went from dingy, gross, dirty yellow to a beautiful white vinyl seat just by using Express Interior. And actually, they ended up using some paper towels. And I was blown away when I came back from a ride how great the seat looked. Everything. They wiped down all the plastics with Express, the door or the grips, everything. So I wanted to talk about Express for a minute, how versatile it is. And I was blown away. I use it all the time. I have myself a little detail kit, sand dunes with a little Epic, a little Bead Maker, some Express. And I use it all over my side-by-side, and I use it on the vinyl and the seats there too. So I love Express, and it continues to blow me away every time I use it. And what really makes me happy is the glow that it leaves behind. I don't know how that's possible, how you can clean something and not, dress it, but it just leaves a nice afterglow is what I would say it is.
That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Well, one thing that's kind of stood out to me the last week or two is I've been doing a lot of coatings, and then also I've had a couple cars come in that were like new to them. So they weren't brand new cars, but new to them. And, they weren't in super bad condition or anything, but got them cleaned up, got, any resemblance of anybody else ever being inside that car gone. And then just finished all the interiors off with natural finish. And, that's always kind of been one of my favorite products, but I think in the last couple of weeks, it's kind of started to stand out a little bit more in my mind, mainly for its versatility. Like I love it on the interiors. Some of you may have seen the big, ginormous Ram 3500 that I did last week. That was a cool story. That was a truck that was a giveaway. So it was one that was like completely built out for one of those, crazy giveaways, buy a product. And, so it had a lot of aftermarket stuff on it. And so it had been passed around a lot, used in videos and things like that. So, a lot of people were in and out of that truck before my customer bought it. And, so the seats were pretty dirty and everything was just kind of dry. It had been all around the country. So, just cleaning that thing up and putting natural finish in it, it literally just reset it to what it would look like, actually even better probably than on the showroom floor. But here's where natural finish kind of kicked it up for me is, because this comes up a lot, we don't have dynamic anymore, right? So we've had to learn to adjust. And so one of the products that I really like to dress fender wells and things like that with, I was using something different. I actually used Wipe and Shine on that one. It had ginormous tires. I don't even know what size they were. I mean, the wheels were like 35 inches, 40 inches. I don't know. They were so big. And so then the sidewall of the tires was pretty low profile. So I did Wipe and Shine on those versus I normally use Odyssey on those big trucks, right? And I spray it. So I used Wipe and Shine on the tires. So then I needed something for the fender wells, which were the size of a house. And so I just grabbed my natural finish and I just, did it the way that I used to with dynamic, dressed the fender wells, dressed all the powder coating and everything. And it just worked great. It's just such a great, just what it's called, a natural finish. So it just turned everything nice and black and crisp and moisturized. And, so I was really happy to see that, I still had something in my toolbox for, kind of what we missed from dynamic. So I thought that was really cool. So I went through a lot. I just noticed I went through a lot of natural finish the last 2 weeks.
Well,
it's definitely becoming a bigger deal for me.
Natural finish recently coming out in a pint.
Yeah.
We have the guy that kind of started that on here. Justin started filling pints with natural finish to sell in his storefront.
Yeah.
And then when we started having the dynamic silicone backlog, whatever we want to call it,
yeah,
Justin was already selling natural finish. And so we talked with Bob and said, hey, this is a good idea. We should probably put natural finish in the pint. And, that was agreed upon by the whole team. So thanks, Justin. We'll give you credit for that.
It sells very well, especially that, that consumer size, right? That 16-ounce size. there was just, I had literally notes out of all the products we carry. I have more notes on that when we run out of stock on when are you getting it in, call this person, let them know immediately. And it's like, really? Like out of all the products we have, this is the one? I'll take it.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
funny.
it's kind of that, like Sydney calls it, the trimey size, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
once you buy that, and then it's buying the gallon. Once you buy the gallon, you'll buy the 5. So
Yeah.
it's good to have in stock, and I just love it. Honestly, all over, not just interiors. It works great everywhere.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, Justin. So do you have any products that you've used in the last couple of weeks, or like you mentioned, you have a store. So do you have any, stories that you've had customers come in with or anything in the last couple of weeks? Anything that stands out to you?
2 actually, and I think I would say they're little tech
Okay.
tips. I'm at a
Uh-huh.
loss of words today. Trust me, I did a lot of talking over the weekend. So
Yeah.
recovering from a hoarse voice and enjoying
Yep.
my coffee. However, no, one, it's kind of funny, cross application, Express on my shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Cleaned them up. They got dirty over the weekend, sprayed them down, rubbed them down with a towel. Boom, they were like new again. And
Nice.
they cleaned up. And that, listen, when you got to do things on the fly, and these are the products you have that work great. I'll tell you, they definitely worked out real well. However, customer-wise, we had a vehicle, a Canyon Denali series, customer trails behind their RV, dirty as can be, and a lot of bugs on the front of it. So in that case, we ended up pressure rinsing it down to remove the majority. And then what we do is we end up going to a 50-50 of brake buster. And we sprayed the entirety of the front end, and it just absolutely melted off the bugs safely and effectively. Because of it being safe on all wheel surfaces, it's safe on all finishes on the front end as well. Plastics, all those different type surfaces on the front end of vehicles. And it works phenomenal. And so we use that there because it's it's a pH balance, it's safe, all those characteristics that it delivers on. It also delivers on being able to kind of peel away those bugs, and we find it to be successful. We just recently went ahead and used it there in that application. But outside of that, I mean, there's not really one product other than those 2 stories that stand out to me. I mean, the whole double black line is stellar to me. I hate to say that because it sounds a little biased, but to me, it's just, that's why I carry it in my storefront.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, you brought up what you did this weekend. So why don't you tell us real quick what you did this weekend?
My first time being able to have the opportunity to host as director of training the 2-day boot camp at Auto Geek. It was phenomenal. We had 25 students. We had 10 manufacturer reps there, including Rennie himself representing PNS. So we had a packed room or show car garage at Auto Geek full of about 35 people just getting dirty and getting their hands dirty with hands-on application of products and process, and then of course business education throughout the day. So I think it was a very successful weekend, and we laid down a lot of sole coating. The Cobra that's in, I think it was a 68. I have to look
I
at
saw
the paper.
that, the blue one.
We put sole on that. That was a cut and polish, and
very
we laid
cool.
sole on it, and it made it pop like crazy. So it was nice. Everybody got an opportunity to work with all the different brand manufacturers there together, which was really neat. And the students got to see the commonality for all the manufacturers hanging out and keeping on the same page, and education and leading by that. And of course, Randy doing a great job at that as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Really
it looked
cool.
like a great event. Oh, so many great brands were represented there with their tools and their products and their pads. So that's awesome. Well,
Very, very cool.
looks like we had a couple questions come in. We've had a lot of people say good morning.
Good morning. Yep, including Bob
lots
Phillips. So thanks, Bob, for joining us.
Yeah, and you know what? We have an Eskimo from Alaska that joined us. He crawled out of hibernation. So good morning, Alex. Lots of them. Lots of good mornings. So, Chris, let's go ahead and pull up the first couple of questions and keep them coming, everyone, because we have Justin on, and he's going to have a little bit different perspective on some of these questions.
All right. So first, we've got a 2-part question. So Luke Neal says, what is the best product for an acid wash? And then second part will be recommended dwell time for view before leveling. So I'm going to let Kyle and
I'll
Justin
take the
do
first
acid
part.
wash. Yeah.
So Luke, it's going to depend on what the point of the acid washing is. If you're acid washing to remove water spots on like a car or any type of vehicle, or you acid washing like the hull of a boat to remove the calcium deposits from or in the green ring. No matter what, when you're using an acid, you're going to need to wear gloves, eye protection, and a respirator because that stuff's nasty. I've breathed it in before, and it's probably taken years off my life. It's nasty stuff.
I got Tourette's from that stuff.
Oh man, I think those kind of acids. I mean, look what they do. They break down calcium, and what are our bones made of? So you got to protect yourself. Also, if it's water spots, you can go ahead and use our water spot remover. I like to put it on an applicator or a microfiber towel and wipe it on the surface, usually starting from the bottom of the panel and working my way up. I also can mist it on a little bit, but then you're creating vapor. So then you're going to breathe it in. And dwell time of that, you're going to need to do a couple applications and do it until you don't see the rings anymore. The calcium rings will kind of show through the product. And then go ahead and rinse it off, inspect it. If they're gone, then go ahead and deactivate it. Use a base. So, I mean, you could get away with using a ViroClean. You could use a little Brake Buster, Express. Soap isn't quite a base, but I've done it in the past where I've used soap. But you never want to leave an acid active. You want to neutralize it, and water won't do that. So if you're using or if you're doing a boat and you're trying to get off the green ring, you may want to go to something more like our wheel brightener, a little bit stronger product, and you're going to need to stand back and spray it on to get it on. Use a brush that has nylon brushes so you don't melt the other types of brushes out there because it can do that. Also protect whatever, if the boat's on a trailer, protect the trailer with plastic or protect all the aluminum because it will brighten that aluminum and take the shine away. So, and always start from the bottom up. You never start from the top down. The reason why is because as acids drip and they flash, it can actually etch and leave streaks. Do you have anything to add to that, Justin? Have you done much with acid?
Oh, absolutely. It is something that is an unspoken item in the lineup because it's not anything that you want to market not only to consumers but a lot of professionals because it can be dangerous. You could definitely do a lot of damage with it. That's where a lot of the dealership detailers screw up because they grab that, spray it, let it dwell, and then boom, they ruin rims in just a matter of minutes. We use it to help decontaminate the surface. We use the wheel brightener at a 1-to-4 ratio, so 1 part wheel brightener, 4 parts water, make a 5-gallon ready to use kind of scenario, and we spray, agitate, and rinse immediately. And then once we do that across the whole vehicle, and I'll tell you the purpose, but once we do that across the whole vehicle, we then, of course, foam it with soap to help neutralize it. So it's a 1-2 punch kind of process to help provide a solution to removing mineral deposit on the surface and or unclog a coated surface because it's great on coatings at that. Stubborn wheels, I mean, you have the Iron Buster, you have the Brake Buster. Those are great products, but acid just has that bite to it like no other, right? On wheels when used properly. Again, when used properly, you spray and you rinse. That's it's easy. You spray, get a nice coat on there and rinse immediately. And usually you could walk away without harming the surface. But that's where I'm at for acid. And I use the one from P&S and I dilute it. As far as the dwell time for view, here's the thing about dwell time with any product. You got to kind of eyeball it. Every state, every city, humidity, heat, all these things are variables to the flashing process. So dwell time, you just have to kind of get an eye for where that flash point is and then take off. So there's really no standard rule of thumb, because what my rule of thumb is versus what Sydney's versus what Kyle's are going to be all different due to heat and humidity. So just, I would say, Luke, just, once you understand what that flashing process visually looks like, go from there.
Yep. Yeah. And the beauty with View specifically is that you do have a little bit of a window, which is nice. And so, like Justin said, figure out what your sweet spot is, because generally speaking, it's going to be the same on every windshield. It's not like paint where it can vary. It's going to be pretty much the same, but you do have about a 30-second window, wherever you start. And so you just want to watch for that. View is very, it does the rainbow. And then once it starts that rainbow process, you have a window to get it off there. So I usually just, once I see that rainbow happening, then I just, start the wiping process, and then I don't have to work crazy fast. So that's, my favorite part of View is you do have some working time. So, and like with all coatings, I say, do a test spot, figure out what your time is, and then you're, off to the races after that. So, just figure that out. The other thing too, I said every window will be the same. That will depend on, if the window's cool or warm. So, you always want to be dealing with not, a raging hot windshield. So, if it's warmer, it's going to flash a little faster. So just watch that.
And I see that Luke responded with, my shop is 70 and dry. So if there is a particular issue that you're encountering that is not explained right by one of the three of us, then just reach out to one of the three of us. Luke, you got, I'm sure, all of our phone numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very good questions. Awesome. Okay. So next up is Cynthia. I had a great experience using the P&S carpet seat and cleaning trifecta, carpet bomber, terminator, and finisher. I used it to remove dried blood from Labrador cut paw, and it worked great. Yes.
Awesome.
And the one that probably helped the most there is the terminator, right? That's what finisher. Sorry, finisher probably helps the most. That's what I always use for dried blood. But yes, I love that whole system. There's just not a lot that we can't get out with it. So yes.
Yeah. Finisher's kind of the way I reverse it. It's usually the last product, but when it's with blood, it's actually the first product I go to, just to break it down. And then we use the others to clean it out. So perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks for
sharing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Here's one just for Justin.
Okay. What is your best method to use for salt removal on the exterior of a coated car?
Because Justin has lots of salt from snow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We get it all the time. I don't know what to do with myself.
Well, unless they're coming from Georgia or something, right?
Don't deal with it. And plus, I hate to say it, and I'm not bougie or anything, but I built myself into a way that we work on mainly new condition vehicles. So we don't get a lot of the dirty ones. And I have them go through tunnel washes before they come to us to knock off all that stuff, so they don't have to pay extra. Because here's the thing. The exchange is not the service as much as where the exchange is your time. And then the currency of that exchange is your time for the money. So the extra time that goes into cleaning that vehicle to remove that stuff and then rinsing it down your driveway so you're not having vehicles behind them track that in. My customers don't want to pay that. And it's not that they don't want to, it's just that it's not necessary. So it's much easier for them to go through that tunnel wash, or like I said, we mainly focus on brand new to new condition. They're well maintained, so we don't get that, and it's Florida, so salt is really not a thing. Just like when customers ask me about undercarriage sealing, I'm like, that don't exist. There's not a market for it, and if somebody got into it, there's not enough demand to keep up revenue to pay bills on it. So it's so unfortunately I don't have an answer, but I'm sure Kyle or Sydney, especially you, Sydney, you probably have one.
So I do have a lot of salt down the side. Now it's the sodium hydrochloride in the from melting all the ice. So I do get that a lot. And I generally just use EnviroClean. Honestly, I just pre-spray with EnviroClean and that does great for me. So I've never found that I needed anything stronger. Now, granted, the salt on the sides of the cars here is also mixed with snow and dirt. I'm sure there's some states where, they use a really, really harsh salt brine, and we don't have that here. We do have a salt brine, but it's fairly, it's diluted with a lot of other stuff. So the salt here isn't crazy. I've heard of crazier levels. And so for me here, EnviroClean does perfect.
That would be my answer. I'll tell you what, I've cleaned in the last few years probably 2 vehicles that have been through the snow when we get snow in our mountains. And usually the side of it has a mixture of snow and tree sap and whatever they put on there.
Mhm.
And I just pre-rinse and use EnviroClean to break it down, and then we go ahead and start our contact wash after we've done our best to blow off as much as possible. So give EnviroClean a try.
Cool. All right, next up. Dead Pedal says, I love this question. He says, speaking of using Express on shoes, what are some other unconventional uses for PNS products? I'm looking for some life hacks, y'all.
Dang, you just opened up Pandora's box. Because there's nothing more a detailer likes to do than find ways to use their products. Oh man, this could go on a while, but maybe we'll take 1 or 2 life hacks each and see what different things we can come up with. I'll let Justin start.
Justin, what's your favorite?
The biggest one that is found has been most beneficial to me and my customers is Bead Maker preloading it on glass prior to application of a ceramic coating. And the reason being is that after you've completely prepped a vehicle and got it thoroughly surgically cleaned and ready to go for a ceramic, we also preload the glass with Bead Maker, unless it has a coating on there, obviously. But if it has no coating, putting Bead Maker on, preloading it, what happens is that 2 things. If we get the coating during the application on the glass, the Bead Maker rejects the coating, makes it a lot easier for me as the installer, the technician, to remove it, and it's not nowhere near as stubborn. Even if it gets looked past and we have to revisit that area, it's still not as stubborn. So it makes it a lot easier on me. And then my customers leave with a Rain-X-like effect to the hydrophobic characteristics from Bead Maker on the glass. So it's 2 birds, 1 stone. It makes my life easier and it gives an added benefit to the overall job, extra incentive to the customer. And that's something that we figured out that we apply in all of our trainings. And it was something that was actually taught over the weekend as well as one of those PNS life hacks.
Very cool.
I love it.
Me too.
That's a good one. All right. So I'll go with, well, damn, I can't use dynamic anymore, but I've done it with natural finish. You know, when you have those really dried out powder coated black wheels that just look nasty, I spray the heck out of it with natural finish, let it soak in, and then I just take my leaf blower and I blow in all the nooks and crannies and level it. And I let it soak in while we do the rest of the detail. When we go back later, we do a light wipe and then completely changes the look of those powder coated wheels. It totally moisturizes that faded, nasty looking powder coat. And that's kind of like one of my favorite things to do is to make those wheels pop, because they look ugly no matter what. Even if you tried to coat them, they're just not going to look good anymore with that cheap powder coat.
Yep. Very cool. All right. So I bet Kyle knows what my favorite one is. So my favorite hack is paint gloss. So a couple years ago, when we were kind of going through the Bead Maker dusting issue, and we figured out that paint gloss helps cut down the static charge on Bead Maker. So I started thinking about, well, that's got to be the same on the interior, right? Because we would get a lot of static charge here. It's kind of deserty here when it's not winter. And so we would get a lot of static charge on the inside of the vehicles. And so where I live in the community, it's very recreational. So lots of dogs, lots of bikes, lots of sand, crazy. So I figured out that I could use paint gloss as a vacuum aid. And it's been a couple years now, and I literally physically cannot vacuum without paint gloss. Like I try and I can't do it. So you just mist, real lightly, 1 or 2 mists per, kind of section, and then vacuum it. And it cuts that static charge. So it makes the vacuuming so much shorter. You're not going over as many times. You're not making the static charge with the vacuum. And so it helps bring up the dog hair faster, the sand. It leaves the carpets just, nice and black in most cases, because most of them are black. Even in my own car that, I vacuum several times a week, but I literally cannot do it without it, because even in my own car, I spray it and it's just like a one pass, so fast. I can vacuum my entire car in less than 5 minutes. So paint gloss I use paint gloss for so much, but that is my favorite unintended use, is as a vacuum aid. So you have to try it. And I'm sorry if it gets you addicted to it. I literally cannot physically vacuum without it.
I love the smell it leaves behind. Just
Yeah.
kinda,
Yeah.
it lingers for a day or so,
Yeah.
and it's just fresh.
Yep.
One more I got to throw out there. Being a pad
Okay.
guy, rags to riches, 1/2 ounce to a 32-ounce bottle to spray and clean your pads with.
Oh yeah.
It breaks down, and emulsifies compounds and polishes waxes inside of our microfiber towels. So it's great in regards to also helping keep your pads clean when you go to clean your pads.
Well, that works great on most pads, but when you got a really, really nasty one, like I had a lamb's wool pad that was gummed up with Kyle's Boat and Hardware store.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up going to EnviroClean and using that to kind of bust through it a little bit more aggressive.
Yep.
But I still wash my pads with Rags to Riches. So general purpose cleaning, man, Rags to Riches works great on it. If you need to boost it a little bit, go to EnviroClean. To dig it out. And
that's just a major tip there, right? No matter what you need to use, I have definitely had bad pad maintenance in the past. Justin knows. He came to my shop one time and had to throw away all my pads. So I finally feel like I totally have figured it out. And the thing, and just like what both of the guys just said, I find that most helpful is I just keep a spray bottle. I have a bucket for all my used pads. And right when I pull them off my machine, I just spray them, toss them in the bucket. And then whenever I get to washing them, they're fine. But what I've noticed is just by pre-spraying them right when they come off the machine, that compound and polish isn't really allowed to fully set into the pad, because it starts that breakdown process right away. That the compounds don't harden, and the whatever cleaner, the Rags to Riches or EnviroClean, whichever one I grab, doesn't cause any harm to the pad over time by sitting there. So that's been like the big win for me, is that pre-treating, throwing in the bucket, and then just washing as normal whenever I get around to it. So yes, that is, I love both Rags to Riches and EnviroClean. And I too, like Kyle, if I'm doing wool and it's got some pretty crazy stuff in there, then I go straight to EnviroClean.
That was a great question, Dead Pedal.
Yeah, that was an awesome question.
Where's Dead Pedal from? I've seen Dead Pedal on here so many times. I kind of want to get an idea where some of our friends are from.
We'll watch. Dead Pedal, tell us in the comments where you're from.
Put it in there.
All right. Next question. This is a good one too. You guys have good questions today. When it comes to social media, how do you advertise yourself without sounding douchey or salesman type or egotistical?
Well,
lead by education. That's all you got to do. Just lead by education, and let everything else will do its job.
Yep.
Yeah, educate, whether it's through just pictures or video. There's different ways of educating, right? If you take the right photo, it educates people without words.
Yep.
And sometimes you need to educate people on what you're actually doing. Because remember, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people have no idea what we're talking about. When the terms we use,
right.
Heat correction, ceramic coatings, even though, remember 10 years ago, Justin, no one cared about coatings, and I felt like I was a used car salesman trying to tell people about coatings. Now everyone knows about a coating, but they don't actually know what a coating is. So educating people through your videos and pictures and your tags. You're right. That's the way to do it. And don't advertise the detailers. Stop. That's the douchey part.
Yep. Yeah. Make sure your advertising and your posts, are something that your customers are going to find interesting, or your market is going to find interesting. Obviously we all have other detailers that follow us, and that's fine. Just make sure that you're not trying to, use words and do things that you think are going to be impressing other detailers, because they're not the ones paying you. And so just make sure that you keep it like that. And then for me, just be totally authentic. Don't try to be something that you're not. Be absolutely authentic. Don't try to make yourself bigger than you are. You know, Kyle and I see this side a lot. We get a lot of messages on social media, and it's always quite funny how people present themselves, and then we will, you know, look at their social media and they have 14 followers or something. And so just make sure that you're totally authentic. You know, it's okay to only have 14 followers, but you know, don't say you're the best in that town or whatever.
Yeah,
don't
I
try to
saw
fake
that.
it till you make it kind of approach.
Right. So yeah, just for me, that's the biggest thing is just be totally authentic and make sure that you are, you know, steering your efforts in the right direction to people that are, you know, going to use you.
You know what, Sydney?
Mhm.
What you just brought up, everyone has to stay on till the end of this when we hit the
Mhm.
hour mark, because I'm going to ask you and Justin a question, and
Okay.
everyone's going to want to hear this question.
Okay.
I got a surprise. I just
Okay.
came up with this. You'll
That
know
sounds
where it's
good.
going. It has to do with the messages we receive on social media all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
all right.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome. Great question, Abraham. I hope that helped you. So Christopher, this is another really great question. What is a big mistake you made when first starting off your business? Justin,
Uh,
2008.
Focusing too much on the craft and not the business.
Mhm.
That was the
amen.
biggest mistake
Yeah.
I made right out the
Mhm.
gate. Thought I wanted to be able to be the best detailer. I want to be
Mhm.
the best. When
Yeah.
realized it's not about being the best detailer. We could all shine cars damn near equally the same unless you start breaking out gloss meters and magnifying glass, but nobody cares about that because you're doing it for the customer. It's about how
Mhm.
you run your business. That's what I lost out on for quite a few years. But everybody matures differently in business as they
Mhm.
grow. So
Mhm.
things happen for a reason. So sometimes you have to take it on the chin in time, meaning like 3, 4, 5 years of learning the craft and falling and dragging your knees in business before you actually truly understand and get in the groove of properly making calculated decisions for your business. And of course, having mentors.
Yep.
I second that for sure, all the way. Can you see me? My screen looks like it's
Yeah.
frozen. Okay.
No,
Yep.
I can see you.
I have a good kind of a detailer out here locally that I would say unofficially mentored, just been a friend to for years. And I've been telling him for a long time, look, you care about people's cars more than they care about their own cars.
Mhm.
And that's actually become a stumbling block for him. And I said, look, dude, you just got to run the business, do great service, give great value. But sometimes you can't care about the vehicle more than they care about their own vehicle. You know, you got to give, equal amount of effort as they do. Um, and that's just part of being a business owner. And, no one cares that you're using a super crazy expensive wash mitt. Very few they care that you're going to give quality service at a fair price, get it done quickly, get them on the road. And like I would say, Justin would, and this is the last thing I'll say about it, is learn and know your numbers. If you would do that from the beginning, your accounting and all that, uh, you'll be more successful once you actually know how much you're making. Because when you first start out, you're not making much, so you got to figure that out.
Yep. Yeah. So mine, I have two totally different avenues. So my first one is just make sure you find mentors. I know a lot of you have heard my story, and I went through about the first 4 or 5 years totally alone with nobody to talk to. And I think mentors are so important because this business is hard, especially when you're first starting out. It's dirty, it's hard. You have to build, you have to work really hard at the beginning. And so you definitely need mentors. You need encouragement. It's really hard to keep yourself going. And I think that a lot of the detailers I see that were at the same point as I was, or even they do actually shut down, it's because they felt too alone and they felt too discouraged by the pain and all the things that they had to go through. And so make sure you find a mentor, make sure you find the right one for you. Just it's super, super important. You need that encouragement to keep going. So that's my first part. My second part is ergonomics. This is a big one for me. I did a lot of things wrong in the beginning. One, because I wasn't trained properly. And so I have done in the last 9 years, I've done an extreme amount of damage to my body physically, that could have been completely prevented. So, there's a lot of things that you guys can get by starting, budget wise, right? The one that I feel pretty firmly about, and I'll be filming some videos about this here in the next coming weeks and months, is polishers. If you're going to be actually doing paint correction and polishing, you have to invest in a good polisher. I did not, and I caused a lot of damage to my arms, my neck, my back, things like that. And then also knowing how to polish, because I was never trained in how to polish either. And so then physically I was standing wrong, holding the polisher wrong, everything was wrong. And so ergonomics is a big one for me. Make sure that you seek out education so that you're using the right methods, all of that. You learn how things affect your body. And then, obviously staying in shape, making sure you're, paying attention to your body and listening to your body. And so that's just a big one for me. I made a lot of mistakes in that area that now bite me every single day. So those are kind of two that I'm pretty passionate about.
Yeah, I love it. Buy quality, once, right?
Mm-hmm.
That goes for everything. Your tools, your equipment as a mobile detailer.
Yeah.
I went through 3 generators in the first couple of years.
Yeah.
Now I've had the same generator for like the last 12.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
When you buy quality, it lasts. So
yep.
Thank you, Christopher. Great question.
Yes.
We got a few more rolling in. This is great.
Cool. Cynthia, would you kindly share the products and process for removing paint transfer from a painted bumper, which is yellow paint?
Yeah. So we have a product called Solvent X, and we have another
Remove all too. Yeah.
Remove all. Thank you. Yeah. They work great. Those are what I would recommend for transfer. They're more for tar, but they should help remove it. Always use a microfiber towel that has no dye in it, so like white or gray. You would never want to transfer because you mentioned it was yellow paint. I don't know what color the vehicle is, but you want to get it off well, easy. Sometimes a little bit of alcohol will work, rubbing alcohol, or just polish. Depends, like if it's a smear or if it's like splatter. Depends. What did you say, Justin?
All the products you mentioned are great. However, our go-to is actually denatured alcohol. Denatured alcohol is safe, it's effective, and it gets straight to the point to understand if it's transfer or something past that. And it cuts right through it, and it's super safe as a consumer to use it as well.
Cool. Yeah, and I just use, Remove All or Solvent X. And, I have found too that a lot of paint I can get off just, obviously, hopefully if it's new, fresher paint, you can get it off. If we're talking like road splatter, so there's different kinds of yellow paint, right? There's going to be road splatter that a lot of times you can just pressure wash that off. I've had a lot of luck with that. If it's paint from the lovely poles at the bank, which I myself have read into one of those years ago, then that's a little bit different. That, you're going to be kind of on the, remove all type process. And then, so usually I try to, knock it down, and then you obviously have to polish after that. So yeah.
Excellent opportunity to sell a ceramic coating because you can say, hey, if you ever run through paint again, it'll make this process way easier getting it off. Oh, it's from a pole.
Paint from a pole.
Oh, they just jump out of nowhere, just like curbs on Sydni.
And it's always the ones at the banks, right? It's always the ones at the bank. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, I do denatured alcohol and then polish it and see what's underneath. Really light polish.
I'll have to try that. I haven't tried the denatured alcohol.
Boy, we got a lot of questions.
Yeah. Cool.
Hold on, I just lost the last one.
Not that I don't know if it's up to you guys, but I'm okay with going past an hour. So if you guys are down to get every question asked,
I am good.
Want to stay within a time frame, either or, I'm here for you.
I'm not in a hurry to leave. My van is actually in the shop today. I was planning on having the day off anyways, so we'll go as long as we need to today.
Nice.
Let's do it.
All right, I love this, and Hans, this question makes me want to do a coffee table book. So he says, when will the purple bead maker launch? So the title of my book is going to be all the rumors about bead maker. So I don't know anything about bead maker.
Oh,
Sounds
man.
fun.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Everyone wants to change the color and the smell of bead maker, and it honestly makes me a little bit angry inside. I just want to share that. So
Tell us how you really feel.
Purple Bead Maker will launch upon the relaunch of
Look,
Barney.
we've already tried to change the color of Bead Maker and the smell once, and I fell
Yeah.
back in love with Bead Maker. The blue stuff was fun, but we'll keep
Yeah.
Bead Maker. I love that mango sunset
Oh,
smell.
yeah.
I
Well, and there's like a
love it.
psychological response now at this point, right? Like we all have it. Every time I use it, it brings up a psychological response that I can't have it change because everything about it feels wrong. I mean, the blue one smelled fine, but I can't use it because I don't know. I love the
I have
orange.
a gallon and I have
Mango.
never used it. I just shake it all the time, and I'm like, it just
The
gotta.
psychological response is like the jelly beans that taste like certain things when you're putting it in your mouth. You're
Right.
like, wow, this is just weird. It tastes
Yeah.
like that, but it's a jelly bean still,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's just like, let's just keep it simple.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, if you ate a red jelly bean that was black licorice flavor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll ruin it.
Psychological.
Yeah. So Hans,
But
I
thanks,
don't think
Hans.
there's any
Appreciate
purple
it.
bean maker coming. All right. This one's for Justin from Hans again. What tasks or duties within the IDA are being asked from an IDA RT? I'm thinking about becoming an RT.
Well, you got to start by sweeping the floors, mopping, taking the trash out, cleaning the coffee maker. That's first and foremost. No, basically, when it becomes, becoming an IDA, International Detailing Association recognized trainer, that is not the next step above SB. That is something for those that have been engaged with training, that are basically trainers that want to, take their resume to the next step of helping others. Meaning that if you've had 3 or more years, because you have to have at least 3 years of active training and recognized training, not just something you've done in your shop, meaning training your employees. I mean, actually working with manufacturers that can write letters of recommendation to say, hey, this dude's legit. He's helped me out. We've been working together for 3+ years. That's a starting point. And then those letters of recommendation from legit peers in the industry as well. But there's, just a matter of being able to locally host a CD, certified detailer, or skills validation, whether it be at your shop or another location in your local market, or if you're willing to travel and go to other locations that you could help with hosting a CD or SV in a day kind of scenario. That would be basically the duties. Outside of that, there's no, I would say, major back end duties in regards to becoming an RT, but I do have to establish that it is not the next step above SV. Because I noticed, sorry, Kyle, but I noticed that the training game is starting to thicken up because people are seeing money advantages. And, is there money in it? Ish, but do we get paid as RTs? Is there money involved there? Absolutely not. There's only a few handful of people in this industry that make money actually being trainers. And Brenny being a prime example of being I would say, one of the only full-time ones that have made it and been successful at it. So, training's fun. Training's nice to get back, but the RT situation, you've got to know what you're in for. And you also got to be dedicated to that category as well, not just to get it as an extra stripe to say.
Hans, I was involved as the committee chairman for losing words right now. What is Clint doing right now for certifications?
Mm-hmm.
And therefore I was part of, working with the RTs, and part of the committee chairman working with them. We have to remind the RTs, you have to keep your RT status active. You have to be actively utilizing it. There is a requirement to do so many trainings and be involved with them. So if you get your RT, it's not like it's you have it forever. you have to be, and there are RTs that have had to say, hey, yeah, I'm not doing it often enough. I'm going to let this status go and just be
Dissolve.
dissolve. So unless you actually plan on actively being a part of it and work for a company or one of those types of organizations that's already utilizing it, but what you do is you email the IDA if you feel you meet all the requirements. Make sure you see if you meet them and apply, and then go through the processing. And actually, the certification committee is the one that vets it all, discusses it all, and then sends recommendations to the board.
There you go. I think that's well rounded.
So, but great question. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, Richard Ambrose. Good morning, Richard. Paint gloss question. Is the cleaning effect the same on fabric seats and leather seats? So yeah, I mean, paint gloss has, light cleaning ability, obviously, right? We can use it, on the exterior. I use it on door jambs all the time. And so I do use it kind of, probably more on my own personal vehicle. I use it for this. So yeah, it's got kind of just the same cleaning ability. I have on my seats there leather on the bolsters, and then the interior or the middle part is Alcantara. And I love paint gloss for that because it kind of just picks up any little dirt, and it's just a quick, almost like a dusting, right? That has a little light cleaning ability. So absolutely, you can use it on fabric and leather in the same way. This is a light touch up for sure. Yep.
Hold on a second.
It's all good.
Oh, Chris
All
is
right.
fielding these. He's the one putting them through.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's me.
He's our master.
Chris is the host.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So
Cool.
Tom Kirby says, is paint gloss safe to apply after a fresh coating application? I'm fighting dust attraction when doing mobile applications with low humidity. I say yes. And, I think that you want to wait probably an hour, wouldn't you say? I mean, paint gloss is it's such a versatile product. It's not really going to, it's going to do exactly what you need it to do, which is kind of cut down that.
They said low humidity, which is good because, like, if you're in a
Mhm.
cold, humid area and it's
Mhm.
going to leave like a moisture barrier, a haze on it, yeah, you want to give it as much time as possible.
Mhm.
Now, dusting's not going to hurt the coating.
Mhm.
Let the dust settle on it. It's not going to go into the coating. It's already flashing and curing within.
Mhm.
But I get why it doesn't look as good right away. Give it an hour, give it, hour or two, and then go ahead and do that, and should be just fine. You just kind of make sure it's cured throughout on the top layer of the coating before you do that. Otherwise, the coating's still soft and curing, and you could possibly mar the coating slightly if you're not careful.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
great.
one thing I do too, Tom, is I use Dream Maker for this. So I know Dream Maker is kind of, the show car spray, but I actually use Dream Maker for this exact thing because Dream Maker kind of has that negative charge as well. And so I'll use Dream Maker about an hour later. But here's my big thing here is whatever you're putting on, spray it on the towel first. So that would be my only thing is just don't spray directly on the coating because it is still curing no matter what. So use a really good towel. I prefer the F2W. Spray the product on whether you're using Dream Maker, Bead Maker, paint gloss, just spray it on the towel first. And then like Kyle said, light wipes over because that coating is still curing. Anything else on that one, Justin? How do you feel about that?
You answered exactly how I was going to answer. I was getting to the application aspect, and you hit it on the head.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, next one up, Fernando. Can we use EnviroClean as a bug remover other than Bug Off? And if so, what is the dilution?
I have used EnviroClean before. I feel that Bug Off works better. It just dissolves the bug guts faster.
Yeah.
It clings to the surface. And so I think EnviroClean is going to help, but you're going to end up using more friction when scrubbing to remove the bugs, where Bug Off releases a little bit better.
Mhm.
And so I would do the normal Bug Off dilution, which is on the gallon, or use the ready to use in the pint. And if it's EnviroClean, I'm going to say you're going to be 4-1. You're going to need a little stronger to break through the bug guts.
Yeah.
So you can try it. It won't hurt anything. I just feel you're going to use more friction. You're going to scrub a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, here in Idaho, and we specifically get the Utah bugs. Every car that comes through here has, for some reason, been through Utah. And when we're dealing with Utah bugs, I mean, I have to use bug off because their guts are so big and so volatile that I have to use the bug off to get them off. Like Kyle said, EnviroClean will work, but you're going to use a lot more agitation to get them off.
So, how about the love bugs in Florida, Justin?
So you could cross-reference products across cross application in regards to some of these things, especially if you're new or working on a budget, or you don't want to have a product for every single situation. Yes, right. I see where that applies. However, the chemists, who make these products, especially like Dave, for instance, with PNS, they are specially formulated to these designated application areas. So those formulations are made to work best for you, the end user, the consumer, the technician doing these. So yeah, bug off would be the best way. But then again, there's a couple different scenarios that falls under, right? Is it a vehicle that already has protection on it? Because we both know when it's protected, it's going to be easier to get those bugs off versus a vehicle coming in that's a new vehicle. You're going to have to be a little bit more aggressive with. So there's those two different type scenarios that you're going to be able to find your best application or product for. So, there's no right or wrong, but to your point, the bug off is going to be the best scenario designated for bugs. And like I mentioned earlier, the brake buster we use because it's usually vehicles that are coming back in that have already been pre-coated, and it just makes it easier for us because there's not much agitation we got to do anyways because they're coated. So just something to think about in the big picture of both ways to approach it, or multiple ways to approach it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Cool. All right, next up. So Dead Pedal's just letting us know he's from Central Florida. He met Dane, Anthony, and Levi through Tavarish when Tavarish and him had a channel together. That's awesome. Very cool.
I hear Dead Pedal all the time when I listen to the Rad Company podcast.
Yeah.
I seen the name when I did the podcast with him when I was up there. I thought it looked familiar. Awesome. I always think it says Deadpool, and then I have to look double, and I'm like, oh, Dead Pedal. Dead Pedal. Okay.
One of the regulars. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. All right, next up, Joel. Fantastic information given today, team. Thanks, Joel. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
Very cool. All right. Then we've got Edward with, has anyone else used paint coating surface prep to clean pads? Justin.
Actually, I did in the past. It didn't work too bad. It's, I always try different things to clean pads, obviously being a pad guy. But it's not a bad product. It didn't get me to where I wanted to be like I would when I use Rags to Riches or EnviroClean, but it can get the job done if that's all you have.
Can I jump in on this one real quick?
Yeah.
No.
I saw this.
Well, if you tell us what shirt you have on today.
This is an Audi race car.
Very
nice.
Cool.
There you go.
Very nice.
So I actually use a paint prep a lot to clean pads, and I use them to clean foam pads on the fly while I'm working on the car, not to clean them to put them back on the shelf. And I wanted to kind of share with you guys how I did it because I really like this method and I think it works well. I have a dedicated Scrub Ninja. And you guys know what those are, right? They look like this.
Yeah.
So I use one of those. All right. I spray the pad while it's on the machine with paint prep, put my hand in the Scrub Ninja and flat palm it on the machine and run it on high. And so that scrubs the foam pad, gets it pretty clean, actually considerably clean. And then I go back to applying more product and going back to the car. So it is my favorite way to
your favorite.
My favorite.
I like
it. Sydney word.
And it, because you can't use a brush really on a foam pad, right? You're just going to chew it up and destroy it. This is a better way to do the towel method where you take a microfiber and kind of bunch it up and hold it on the pad as the machine's running. But that, always seemed dangerous to me because it can get all tangled up and stuff. And
I could see how that would work. And especially because you're not adding like detergents or
Yeah.
anything to the pad while polishing.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, or like if you're using paint gloss, that could affect the product you're using later as you continue to do it. The only thing I would love to see is, does it break down the pad in a long term? It won't do it right away, but do you think that may break it down at all, Justin? Because the alcohol that's in paint prep, do you think
I mean, all chemicals have potential of creating an adverse effect, whether it's long term, short term, immediate. You know, it's kind of hard to say.
Yeah.
That's the kind of feedback where, you know, I personally I usually will spray them and then throw them into a big tub, like a bin that you would storage bin kind of tub of water.
Yeah.
And I just let the water do the work for me and work the magic, but help, you know, with the rags to riches kind of as a little extra on the face to help break down and emulsify compounds and polishes. But outside of that,
I think since Chris is going to put product right back on it, it may neutralize that and just keep going.
Yeah.
So that's why I think you're probably having success with it.
Well, I haven't seen any issues so far, but you know, like I said, I just use this method for that, you know, every 2 or 3 passes when you need to freshen up that pad.
Well, I'll be trying that out this week.
Yeah, me too.
I got
That's
some
awesome.
stuff to polish.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Anyway, just my tip.
Great point.
I'll go hide myself again.
Chris, I did see where Chris said he is glad to see you're alive, that you survived through that Porsche. So.
Oh yeah, but I couldn't move last night. I was pretty stiff.
Gosh. That's funny.
It's a good workout.
All right. Well, good information. Good information. We will try that out this week.
All right, let's get through a couple more. And good morning.
Okay,
Happy
so
Monday
Luke Neal
weekend.
with his last question. He said, 1987 Fox body with no clear, single stage paint, recommended method of paint correction, polish coating. Owner said it has swirls in it and understands it may not be perfect. I'm doing the inspection in less than an hour.
Okay.
Paint gauge and test spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just it's all the traditional stuff that, you know, we learn in training, and that way it gets you to where you need to be and gives you the answers you need in regards to getting the job done to the expectations of the customer.
Well, here's the other thing. If you want to make the job, like Justin said, test spots. Sir, may I do a test spot on your vehicle? I'm going to prep this little area. I'm going to see and show you the work I can do. Because guess what? If he doesn't want to pay for it, he has a beautiful test spot on his hood.
Right. Yep. Test spot. Paint gauge is going to be important. I actually had an 80s Fox body a couple years ago, a saline black. It was pretty hammered, really, really hammered. And the paint was thin and it was single stage. So, you know, I did a polish and set the expectations with the customer, and, you know, he was happy. It turned out great, but it definitely was not perfect. But you know, that was just not going to be the end result that we were going to be able to achieve. And so I think that's the biggest thing is, you know, paint gauge and explain expectations. And, you know, as long as expectations are met, then you're good.
Yeah, and you're providing a solution. So, I mean, it wasn't your initial problem. You're just providing a solution to the problem. So, you know, the way that they bring it into you in that relevant condition, you're just trying to give them the optimal results based on that. So it's not your fault that you can't do anything further.
Does he have the new paint gauges on his website yet?
I think he just has the originals. Yeah. The like next PTG. I can't remember what the brand name is.
That's exactly what it is,
on
Sydney.
Detail Plus on their website,
Detail
there's
Plus.
a really good paint gauge. And I know he has a new one that's like carbon fiber. It's pretty
cool.
They're
right around 250-ish, I want to say, give or take, maybe 200.
Yeah, I can't remember. It's between $200 to $300, but it's well worth it because I mean, my paint gauge is like $1,000 paint gauge from
ETG
13 years ago, 12 years ago. But,
Yeah, that one's so cool. It comes right up on your phone. It's so easy to use. I love it. Love it. And you know, this is a great sales tool too. I pulled mine out the other day. I had a red Mini Cooper that I just haven't posted on my site yet, but this was vital in that because, you know, we weren't sure how far we were going to go with the paint correction. And so I pulled this out with the customer and, you know, it pops right up on your phone. It tells all the places that are, you know, second layer of paint, you know, if there's been prior damage, but some of the areas on this Mini Cooper were measuring like 2.8, you know, so I was able to really set the expectation with her, like, hey, I'm going to work on this, but it's nowhere going to get perfect, right? And so it's a huge sales tool. And then she also saw from that we had to do a coating. So the car did not originally come in for a coating, but it left with a coating because of the paint gauge, because it
Nice.
freaked all of us out. So
Nice.
yeah, absolutely awesome tool. Keith Duplessis just popped in 240. So check those out. Huge.
On Detail Plus,
really,
right?
really great tool. Really great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Queen PNS. I like that term.
Oh,
That's a new one. Ooh, Sydney, Queen. We're gonna get you a shirt that says that.
I know, right?
PNS.
Okay, Tim Jennings is here. Kyle, I just wanted to say that while on white vehicles, your RV product does an awesome one step. I like using that followed by Bead Maker. It leaves a really nice finish. Was using Buff Tone and now using your was using Buff Tone and now using your Restorer. Customers here in North Carolina love it.
Thanks. Yeah, it works great on that. It's a great one step. Cycle it till it's gone. And I think we're working on another great one step right now, bringing it out to your attention. So stay tuned. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We're excited.
Awesome. Love it.
All
right, next up, Samantha. Good morning, Samantha. I love having my business mentor and detailing mentor, not to mention the education, training, and skills I learned from a great group. You three are great spokespersons for detailing as a whole. Thank you.
Thanks, Samantha.
Samantha's awesome. If you guys haven't checked her out, she has Bella Vita Detailing in California. She's awesome. Awesome. Okay, Joel back with Sydney. That's incredible information. Not everyone is the same size, same age, same physical shape. This is key information. Gosh, if that isn't true, right? I mean, we are all cut from a different cloth. And so you have to do what's right for you. You have to do what's right for your body, for sure. Yeah. Like case in point, some people with bigger, larger arms like Kyle and Justin can muscle some of those polishers a lot different than I can. So, not every tool is going to be right for everybody. So definitely, I think that's why going to like a training like Rennie's is so great, is you get to try all the different tools, so there's going to be different ones that are going to work differently for you. And that's even all the way down to wash pads, right? You guys like those big wash pads. And for me, they're too big. I can't hold on to them. And then I get, fatigue in my hands. So that is definitely where training comes in. Find a good training facility, because you want to try all different shapes and sizes. Because if you can find something that works for you, you're going to be more efficient, have better results, and your body is going to be much happier. So
I feel like we're getting old. I don't know about you, Justin.
I know I am.
It hurts. It hurts to polish like I used to. I mean, I was literally online looking at scissor lifts the other day because I don't want to climb up on a scaffolding ever again.
I'm not quite there yet. I still beat myself up for fun at the gym
anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, Adam Garvin's got one for sale, I think.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
I'll have to go look.
He does have one for sale. Yeah, that's funny. All right, Mike says, my body shop guys love coming into my bay just for the smell of Bead Maker. Yeah, love it. I spray it right before my customers come over. That or Dream Maker, because I love for my shop to smell good.
Sydney sprays her armpits.
Yeah, totally.
No, you put it in your Scentsy cup.
Right. I actually
I just take it straight from the bottle
with Bead Maker before I went to the door to give someone their keys back, because I felt like polishing outside all day, I felt a little funky. And someone was like, "Man, you smell so nice," and I'm like, "Oh man, don't come any closer then."
I had to stop doing that because my hair lady complained because my hair wouldn't take the hair color. So I had to stop spraying myself with Bead Maker.
Stop washing your hair with Bead Maker, Sydney.
My nail lady can always tell when I've used extra Bead Maker. It's super funny. All right, awesome.
Learn something new every day, huh, Justin?
It's an onion, man.
You're all not the same shape and size. You gotta see what works for you. Okay, so hello everyone. Happy detailing from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I have a question about adding employees. Secure business and contracts first, or secure employees first? Lastly, insurance for big ticket detailing. Any special insurance needed, or just high policy and then it cuts off? But
let me see if I can read the rest of it for you. It says it just says high policy or just the standard $1 million liability.
I would say based on, I know you're going to answer it too, because Kyle, you have some good information doing airport work, right? So based on the type of contract that you're engaging in would be also something you'd want to consult with your insurance agent about. And also maybe based on being a shop, the kind of cars that you have in your shop and the value of those vehicles is also going to reflect on the type of insurance you want. My insurance agent came by it was a couple years back, and he noticed that, I had a certain caliber of vehicles in my shop, and he's like, yeah, if there's something ever were to happen, then we need to make sure you have coverage. So we bumped it up, and it's not really that much. It sounds like a lot, but it's really not that much. It's pennies on the dollar. And as far as, you definitely want to make sure you have the employees in before you get the big jobs. That way you're ready for it, because there's nothing like showing up to the job solo where you need 10 people.
Yeah, you're going to have to find that delicate balance. I've had to do that where I've secured some contracts for certain events, and I've had to call in some of my buddies and sub out some other detailing businesses to help me until I was able to hire. And that works out well for me. It's happened a few times, especially on some airplanes. Airplanes, it's a completely different policy. So yeah, that's going to hurt a little. But even like cities, I've done contracts where I've cleaned police cars or fire engines for cities. If you're on their property, they want to see a bigger, $1 million policy wasn't enough. One city required 5 million, but really 5 million to $1 million was literally like a $50 a month difference.
Yeah.
It wasn't that much. And as soon as I was done with their contract and I didn't see any light at the end of the tunnel with future work, since I took care of the problems that they were having, I just called my agent and I dropped down my policy to 2 million. Because of some of the cars we were doing, it still needed to be in that realm. So yeah, work with your insurance agent. That's kind of where you need to be. And hiring is kind of a delicate balance, especially right now. Good luck finding good people. They're out there, but you're going to have to hunt.
Yeah, you got to pay to play.
Yeah, you got to pay now a lot more. It's okay.
Yeah. Yep. I have nothing to add to this.
Great question.
It is. They've all been great questions.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so Cynthia, this one might be a question for Chris because I don't know all my areas. So thanks for answering our questions. I was wondering if there's any PNS or Detail Mafia training in the Northeast. I'm in Maryland. So what's our closest extreme training center to Maryland?
Well, I'll do a quick run through here. So PNS offers their one-day training classes through the training center in Hayward, which is in Northern California. So those are kind of confined right there. When it comes to the Detail Mafia, the actually only way to get involved with the Detail Mafia is to attend Rennie's 5-day training, his advanced training, which only happens in Big Bear in Southern California at his training center. So that answers that. The easiest way to get you to one of our trainings near you or kind of near you is one of our extreme one-day trainings. We have 7 training centers around the country that handle those. And closest to Maryland is going to be either Auburn, Indiana, or
Long Branch, New Jersey.
Long Branch, New Jersey. Yep. So those are the 2. We actually have our first one of the year is coming up this weekend on Saturday the 26th. Probably going to be a little bit late for you to join that one, but we also have the next one, I believe, is May 21st. I may be a little off on that number, but it's definitely in May. So best way to kind of keep an eye on things is 1, follow PNS on social media, 2, follow Detailing Success on social media, and you shouldn't miss any of those upcoming opportunities.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. I knew you would have the perfect answer for that. Awesome. Okay, we'll give him a second to dial up another question.
Yeah, let's see.
You guys have awesome questions today. These are great. Jamie the cleaner joined us.
I'm glad Jamie joined us.
Yes.
That guy
Jamie
has a good
awesome
TikTok.
TikToks. He's a great TikToker. All right. So Rick, Do you guys in Sydney take any special prep steps when coating without paint correction? This seems to be becoming a more common request.
I still like to polish the paint. It may not be a correction, but I still like to give it a clay, a light buzz with a polish. You'll be surprised I like to use the yellow pad from Buff and Shine because it actually shows me how dirty the paint really is. And go to paint prep. So it may not be a correction, but you still need to abrade the surface and prepare it. And it could be quick. Like you can do a whole fender in, 2 passes kind of quick. You just still got to put some product on it, move it around and pull it off.
The very last step to paint decontamination is polishing at some level. That way you're going through the process from mechanical, chemical decontamination, and then abrasion decontamination. That's a combination of your liquid abrasive and your pad being an abrasive in itself, and just letting the motion of that machine type basically lightly abrade the surface to remove any spent product and or spent clear coat to ensure that the surface is 100% ready to accept that coating with full integrity, or whatever product, wax, sealant, you name it, or just Bead Maker. But yeah, that's going to be the last final step that would really put the icing on the cake to ensure proper prep. I mean, don't get me wrong, this wash, clay, sole kind of approach is not bad, but what if you've got a super stubborn paint sealant that nobody was aware of that was there? Then that sole's not going to bond 100%. There's going to be the whatever paint sealant in between the paint and the sole, or whatever coating you're using to say in general. So that's my take on it. And like to Kyle, that last step, just quick once over, no correction, just to clean the paint. You just got to put yourself in check mentally for that, because some people be like, oh, what about that spot? Maybe I should. Next thing you know, 15, 20 minutes has passed and you're still in this designated area. No, just buzz it, clean it, prep it, go.
Yep. Awesome. All right, next one, Golden Gate North. This is a great question. So Justin mentioned unclogging a coating. And then his next question is, what is used for that?
So unclogging a coating, that's basically where a coating, it has misleading characteristics by going flat, to say. And it looks like the coating's gone. And most of the time the consumer's like, oh my God, my coating's not working. It stopped. It's broke. It doesn't work. What did you do? This could be from as simple as parking next to sprinklers, and you may not visually see the elements that were in the sprinklers, but they take away from the characteristics of the coating from being hydrophobic to being hydrophilic, which is the sheeting properties. Same thing with parking under a tree. There's so many different variables to that. It could be industrial fallout. There's just so many things that basically it leaves a skim coat of whatever material or element on the surface that takes away from its characteristics. So with that, typically like an iron buster would be our first go-to. Or even a citrus-based wash is also something that's a go-to. But in extreme situations, we actually will use wheel acid and spray it on the surface. And that's become actually something that is talked about within the industry, especially within the coating networks, that works very well as a last resort. And if you're chemically not able to reset the characteristics of the coating, then that means there's a lot more going on, and there might be a concern there. And you might just have to go into a very light polish and recoating and retopping just to get it right with the customer. That way you're not too technical. You're not going down the rabbit hole and wasting a bunch of time. It's just a matter at that point of you tried A, B, and C. They didn't work. Okay, boom. Let's go ahead and do a quick repolish, get it coated again, top coat. That way everybody's happy, everybody's winning, and then you just go from there.
Justin, you may want to give our crystal wash a try and see how you like that as a unclogging product.
Yep.
Okay.
Crystal wash is old school.
That's the traditional. That was before the iron filing removers.
Yeah.
That's the original iron.
That's an acid-based product.
It is,
essentially. So, I mean, it still falls in that category of an acid
Super
wash,
safe, yeah.
to say.
Yeah.
But it's a lot safer than using.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it.
That's what I would go for, in that it's probably very similar to what you're describing. It just may not need to be diluted the same way.
And I take these methods because I come from, doing this for so long with some of these old school methods that I've kind of evolved into my methods, but I know what I'm doing. So to your point, Kyle, I think there are safer products like what you had mentioned that will get you to where you need to be without the liability following it.
Yeah. Awesome. I love that though. Okay, Uni. Question for Justin. What is better, microfiber or foam pads?
Neither. There is no better. They're two different. You have fiber based and you have foam based. It's just different different ways to approach. Typically, fiber based, you're going to find being able to have the advantage of more cut and also complemented with a finish, such as our Euro fibers. Foam, there's only so much cut, but obviously always offering somewhat, if more in the finish category to be able to achieve a better finish with foam. But it's all about application and where that is. Now, granted, microfiber has made its own space in the pad world, and with that, we have the Euro fiber and the Euro fiber finisher that can accommodate both cut and finish, or having them as a one step even to be able to cut and finish within just that one step of your cycling process of polishing or compounding. But they're two different categories. It's like saying what is better, this wool or this foam? You know what I mean? They have their own category. They have their own benefits. It's just a matter of the person who's purchasing them or using them to understand what those are, and it's just educating at that point.
So I have a question to piggyback off of that, because we talked about how to clean foam pads during use. So Justin, what is the best way to clean microfiber pads during use? So not after, because that would be the same, but how about during use?
So there's 3 different ways that you could clean pads in general, especially even with the microfiber, and I could still categorize it in that. You're going to have a terry cloth, a damp terry cloth, which we've used on the fly at Air Force One when you're on a lift or on a big vessel and you don't have compressed air or a brush even. But then the next would be a brush, because the brush will help agitate and lift the spent product out of it, and or a tornador with compressed air. Now, air in general, when you're using compressed air or direct air from an air compressor, it's not the safest because you don't want to inhale it. Maybe you're able to create a vacuum system or dampened garbage can to kind of hold it over and put it into. But I found that the tornador, with the oscillating action of the air, really lifts, fluffs, and resets the pad overall. But yeah, brush, damp, terry cloth over microfiber. But yeah, those would be the different approaches that you could take with
Nice.
cleaning the fiber-based pads in general.
Cool. Awesome.
Well, let me add to Jamie's thing said about add Crystal Wash to cart. It may be a product off the check that's only available through a distributor. It may not be a product we can ship. We'll have to double check that.
That's a legacy product, right?
Yeah, I feel like it is. I feel like I saw it the other day on the site.
Is it on our website?
Yeah, just Jamie, basically if it's on our website, it means it can ship to.
Okay, if it's on our website, it can
if
ship.
it's not, it means you have to get it at a distributor.
It means it's through distributors, which means it has to go freight. That's why I was.
Yeah. It's an awesome product. And so we all know Jamie's a big fan of the Iron Buster Brake Buster combo. Jamie, you should try if you okay, great.
Yes.
So also on those wheels that aren't crazy where you feel like you need the Iron Buster, do Crystal Wash under the Brake Buster. That was like my first love of product combos, right, Kyle? Where we had Iron Buster, that's how awesome. I cleaned wheels and bad ones. And oh my gosh, I love it.
Another life hack.
Yeah, I love Crystal Wash. Okay, so this is a great question. Christine Auto Detailing says, my scheduling app is ending and I need a new one. Do you recommend Your Able?
I use Your Able. Justin, what about you?
I use Your Able, but just to throw it out there in respect to all of the software guys, because they're all amazing people. That's one thing, is that they're all. So you have Your Able, you have RoadFS, Rod and Jody, you have Detail Bookie, you have
there's another one, House Call Pro,
RX, House Call Pro. Yeah, I mean,
there's another one I just saw that came out recently.
Yeah, there's a couple of them. It's really just navigating through their websites and understanding what they have to offer. The reason why, and I could probably say that Kyle would agree here, that we go with Your Able is because they've got it dialed in for us. They listen to us. They make changes on the fly. They do things so fast and make it right for us as the end user and purchasing their system that it just makes running the business a million times better. But you got to try them. You got to figure out what's going to be a fit for you and go from there.
Your Able was there for my business when I needed it. It was the right thing at the right time. and continues to, like Justin said, evolve. I mean, I literally just updated my phone.
Yeah.
My app on, and my guys go to clock in on Monday mornings and they're like, oh, gotta update your able again. So they're always updating the app, which is great. So, but there are many options. Test them out. A lot of them have free, like 30-day trials, or vice, different lengths of time, and see what works best for your business.
Yep. Awesome. It's a big space now that.
Yeah, it's
apps,
kind of hard to like say, hey, try them all, but here we
Yeah.
are, hardcore You're Able users. So it's like, we want to show everybody love, but at the same time, it's like that's just what we chose because it works for us.
Yep. Okay, so Terry Foreman's here. What an awesome educational show today. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and helping us detailers out.
Thanks,
is what
Terry.
we're here for.
Yes, thank you.
Cool. All right, Terry, back to been to a couple PNS training classes in Hayward. Is there a polishing only class or is one in the works? So a couple weeks ago, Terry, we met as a team to kind of plan out our 2022, and it did come up. We're kind of looking at, nothing is set in stone. We haven't, in depth discussed it, but we've kind of been, digging into what we should do as specialized trainings. So the best thing I can say there is just keep track of our social media. We'll let everybody know, but we are looking into kind of one-off specialized courses utilizing the Hayward facility. So just stay tuned for that.
The closest thing to that though at Hayward is a ceramic coating class, because that is a multi-step paint correction class, and then you learn how to use the entire coating line.
Yep.
So
beautiful.
Yeah, you spend about half the day polishing in that one. Yep. Cool. Let's see. And Corey Taylor just said, just as kind of a double back to the CRM, is that most of them, do have free trials. So you can always try all of them out, see which one fits your needs the most. That's a good point. Definitely a good point that they all have free trials.
Yeah. I think I might have gotten through all.
I would go in, I would make yourself a customer in the free
Mm-hmm.
trial, set up your own vehicle in the free trial, schedule an appointment for yourself, utilize the emailing, the text messaging, whatever features that they have.
Yep.
And run through it through both ends of the detailer, but also how does it communicate to the customer, and if that, is what you're looking for.
Yeah, good point. Write down the things that you need it most for your business. Like if you need text message reminders and, photos and all of that, make sure that, write down what's most important to you and then find the one that has the best system for you in that area, for sure.
Yeah.
And let me add something to your point too. If you're going to document your customer data with any of these software programs, also document them on a separate sheet or in a separate system. Because the other downside that a lot of people don't talk about is once you do these trials, and let's just say for some reason you just dislike using that certain one, all that information that you just uploaded, you may not be able to export all of it. You may be able to export customer information, but vehicle history, VIN, all that stuff, sometimes they're limited. Not that any of them specifically are, but just be very mindful of that. Once you get all that information in there, that you may not be able to transfer 100% of it from one program platform to another. So make sure you're also writing that as you go for the trial time until you figure out which one you want to move forward with.
For sure.
Cool.
For sure.
All right. Are we catching up, Chris?
We're about there. This is the last one.
One last question. This is a great question. I'm glad you asked this, Samantha. So Sydney, are you going to be coming to Hayward to do a class on using your air sprayer and coatings or tire glass? So yes, this is in the works. I just need to get some dates figured out, but we are planning for me to come to Hayward and do kind of a special training in the first half of this year. So hopefully I'm kind of shooting for May, June time. We just need to get that solidified, but yes. And so I can look at adding in my air sprayer to that training. I know we just need to have like a crazy Sydney training, really, right?
All of Sydney's favorite things.
All my favorite things, like Oprah.
We're going to call it the crazy Sydney training.
Yeah. All right. So
Cool. Well, thank you guys so much. And thank
Hold
you,
on, hold
Justin,
on.
for joining us. This was great.
I got
She's
one
just
more.
cutting us off, Kyle. Jeez,
I know.
what is
Okay.
going on here?
I got to get to the last thing, Sydney. Remember?
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh.
Okay. All right. So Justin and Sydney, we
Yes.
get this all the time on our Instagram and other social medias,
Mhm.
and I wanted to address it because it's been addressed kind of harshly on social a little bit recently.
Yeah.
But all right. So when people contact any company wanting to be sponsored, and I'm glad Jamie jumped on here because he was the recipient of just being who he is.
Mhm.
We have people all the time that say, "Hey, I just started my detailing business. I want to try out your products. Can I get sponsored?" And they have very minimal followers, or they really didn't even like our page until like that moment.
Right.
Which is kind of like, come on, let's think about this. But we wanted to address it just to be able to kind of tell someone how do you get involved with an organization, with a company in the right light. And I have my own way of saying it, but I wanted to open it up to both of you first and say, if you were to receive, hey, I want to get free stuff, or hey, I want to be sponsored, or how do you go about it, Justin? And we'll go to Sydney. Being part of
Mhm.
taking part in that.
Yeah.
Well, first, I could definitely say that, my position is a prime example of that with many hats I wear in the industry. Not one of them have I ever asked.
Yes.
Have I ever approached and asked? It's all been organic. It's all been natural. That's how you have to do it. It has to be natural, and the other thing is, if you do want to become, sponsor is more of a brand ambassador position. There's a little bit of both, sponsorship. At the end of the day, the sponsorship for a manufacturer, that's a different approach. We can't sponsor a detailer. That's not going to do much for the manufacturer. It has to be give and take, right? It has to be equal playing rounds where they're both benefiting. A sponsor for a manufacturer is a TV ad, sponsoring something on like Motor Trend so the nation can see it. That's
Right.
sponsorship. Then there's brand ambassador. If you want to represent the brand to help the detailer get put forward, that's fine, but you can't do it for free product. You have to do it because you actually have a something you're bringing to the table, for one, whether it be a following or whatever the case may be, maybe your education, who you are, your personality, it just comes across to everybody. But you can't just do it for free product. And you also have to be enjoying the product and actually like the product, not just using it with a smile on your face, and then once the camera's off you're like, oh, this stuff is just you can't do that for the clout to say. It has to be organic, it has to be natural, and you have to enjoy it, and you have to be the right fit for it. You can't just ask, because now we're in a space where people, or I should say detailers, are starting to get put forward by the manufacturers. Right. It's just a lot of them, if you look, the ones that are being put forward by the manufacturers have also been doing this for a certain period of time to where they're naturals at it. They almost in a way deserve it to say. And it's one of those things that it's kind of hard to say, because it's just, we're in a position right now where everybody wants to be part of the brand that they're using. And I get it, but is it going to make you money? Is it going to better your business at the end of the day? And are you ready to play in the arena with the manufacturers, distributors, and the retail side of it, and understand that side and get rid of the detail mindset? That's the other thing, because that's a whole nother mentality as well that you got to have a perspective on.
Yep, absolutely.
Well
Absolutely.
said.
That the most important thing there is don't ask and being organic. That, could not say that enough. We had somebody this past week say, I would like to be sponsored by PNS so that I can use your products and tell you how wonderful they are. And we don't respond to those, by the way, but it was funny because I thought, well, we don't want to be told how wonderful they are just because we gave them to you for free. We just want organic, honest, feedback. And, I think a lot of people saw Jamie's unboxing. When I was in Hayward last week, I put together a box for him because he's a big fan of PNS. He never asked for anything. That was completely organic on both sides. And that is what is so important, is it has to be organic on both sides. Yes, Hans, if you get a PNS logo tattoo, we will send you something.
Has to be on your lower back.
Yes. On the lower back, we will send you a box. But it has
I'm
to
not
be
sure if he's joking or not.
yes, but it has to be totally organic. So just know that if you ask, it probably nothing will come of it. And we like organic fans. We like people that use the PNS products and are just true fans of them. And Kyle and I and the rest of the team, we when we send out packages, that is just pure love on our part, because we appreciate their love of the product. So that is, it's so important that all of these relationships are totally organic. So
we've had, and that's why I'm glad both of you said what you said. I knew that's where this would go, because we have fans, and we do appreciate them. We've rewarded some in the past for just their natural, organic, authentic, just representation. Like Jamie has his TikToks, and he does great with it. We look for fans to bless and say thank you. And here's what happens. We've done that a few times. And some of them have said thank you for the product, did an unboxing, and then they fell off, right? They moved on. Justin, did you fall off when you were using Buff and Shine, or did you continue to show value, give value, even after you got, maybe you got something for free, right?
Yeah, 7 years in, it's still the same.
Exactly. You got to continually give value. I've been fortunate to work with Flex in the past. Guess what? They haven't given me anything in a long time. I'm still a fan. I just did a video the other day and tagged Flex with the PXE80 in it. I don't receive anything from that, but I'm a fan of that product, and I never fall off. I continually look for opportunities to show my my fan appreciation for the product. If you fall off, you'll never get recognized. But if you constantly give value, eventually, and all three of us are direct, what would you say? Reflection artists, reflection artists, right? We are a reflection of that. We've done that. We gave value first. Sydney went and talked with Bob and Dave and Rennie and said, why isn't Bead Maker or Breakbuster in the
it was Express Interior,
Interior, right? And she did that. I've done that too.
And they showed up at her front door.
PNS for a long time before this opportunity came to me. Actually, other opportunities came to me because they saw what I was doing. And so those opportunities will come if you're consistent, if you're persistent, and give value. If you fall off, if you're one hit wonder, we've had a few of them. Nothing will come of it. But we do say thank you for your friendship, for your representing the products, giving good feedback. And so I just wanted to touch on that because it happens so much.
It does.
And we wanted to say this in the right way. How to become involved with the company, because no one is talking about that. So
here's a perspective too. It's like having, let's just say, for detailers, we offer premium services. Let's talk about like a premium restaurant or premium steakhouse. You consistently go back. Why? Because the food tastes so damn good. It's always on point. The service is on point. The atmosphere, the experience, everything's so on point. You leave there, you still sign the check. The check could be $100, it could be $200, and obviously that's way above average in your standard going out to eat kind of night, right? But you're still willing to go back and spend that premium level of money and not ask for a damn thing. And every time you go back, all you do is expect that level of experience. As long as it's consistent. And what are you doing? You're telling your friends about it left and right with nothing to expect back. You just want everybody to have that same great experience because it was so amazing.
Exactly.
That's the same thing as a detailer to the manufacturer. If you truly organically love it for that experience that you're having, and you're just talking it up because you truly love it, that's what's natural. You don't expect anything.
That's how you ask. You ask without asking. And You just show in that way.
Mhm.
And with that said, that kind of ends our Bead Maker and Coffee for today. Thank you very much, Justin, for coming
Yeah,
on.
thank you. This was great.
This was really good. We usually don't go this long.
Sorry.
No, it's
this
been
was
great.
We're all
Yeah.
friends, so it's like, it's
Yeah.
and this is truly organic for all the viewers. Like, we are actually all like
Yep.
friends. Like, this is fun to
Yep.
do this. This is not business at this point. This is just being able to take a break from the shop and
Yep.
come chat with my friends and talk what we
Yep.
do and how we do it.
Yeah. Awesome. Richard says he loves you, Justin. That's
Oh,
nice.
thank you.
I love you too, Justin. And Richard and Sydney.
All right. Well, thank you guys. You guys have an awesome day. I'm going to head out to the shop and I will see everybody next time on Bead Maker and Coffee in 2 weeks.
Yeah, be
You
careful
too.
driving to your shop, Sydney.
I will. 30 feet, and it's 30 feet to the door. Awesome.
All right,
Thank you,
guys. Thank you. Take care.